Hi, BookTube. I'm here today to do a tag, the Drunk Book Tag. It was created by Pages and Pens and Chelseadolling Reads, and I was tagged by Madeline, and her channel is MadeWithBooks, and I will leave a link in the description below to all of their channels. And this isn't, it doesn't really apply to me, any of these, because I don't drink. I might have one drink a year, maybe. I don't like the taste. I don't care for the taste of alcohol. The questions are unique and fun, a little bit different. So yeah, I thought I would go ahead and do the tag. And so the first question is wine coolers. You're 16 and you finally managed to sneak one of your mom's Smirnoff ices. What is one of your most guilty pleasure reads? And I decided to go with a book that I reread multiple times, just because I love the narrator of the books, and of course I can't think of the name of the narrator when I'm doing this video, but yeah, I love the audiobooks, and I love the setting. It takes place in small town Virginia, and this is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, and this I'm talking about the Raven Boys cycle series. And yeah, it's just a nice fun like a high school romance with like magical elements, and so yeah, it's a really nice story. Let's see, number 2. Beer. You've made it to college and are hosting your first kegger. Pick your favorite new adult or college-aged book. And I decided to go with The Group by Mary McCarthy. And this is a fantastic book about 8 college students from Vassar. Here's the cover for that one. And yeah, if you haven't read this book, it's really good. It came out in 1963, I think. Yes. But yeah, it's all about, they all have different backgrounds. And it's kind of like a 1950s vibe, where, of course, the women are expected to marry and, either meet their men in college, and kind of leave that lifestyle. And it even opens up with a marriage, and, like from a very young age, this couple. And so you follow them along with 7 other friends who, either, they like break apart and, don't stay friends, or, yeah, it's like the drama and like their lives. And it's just a great book. See, number 3, Tequila. You partied too hard last night and drank a little too much Jose Cuervo. What's a book that you never want to see again, or your least favorite book? And I'm going with Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance, the memoir of a family and culture in crisis. And I know some people like this book, but I've never been a fan. I read it. I didn't like his tone. He's a man who grew up in Appalachia area, and he was able to break out of poverty and make it big, but his opinion and tone towards poor people is very condescending, and he kind of like looks down at them, and he has like no pity for them. And it's not everyone who is in poverty can get out of it, no matter how many hours they put into their work or what have you. Not everyone can get out of that situation, and yeah, I just did not like it at all. Let's see. Number 4, Beer Bong. What's a book that you read super fast? And this book is 600 pages, and I read it in like a day and a half. It's like one of those like fast-paced thrillers. I was able to get through, and it's Greg Iles' The Quiet Game, and this is the first book in the Pen Cage series. And this one's like set in like small town Mississippi, and just the vibe, the plot, the characters, the location, all that. It's just a perfect like almost like a movie kind of thing, where you just fly through it. So let's see. Number 5, Spring Break. You've thrown your inhibitions to the wind and end up having a sexy night you'll never forget. What is your favorite smutty read? And I don't really read like smutty books. Like right now I'm doing the romance book bingo, and it's like forcing me to pick romance books, which is not really something I'm well versed in. But even like with those books, I just like skip over the sections. It's not something I want to spend my time reading. But this is a book that really stood out to me. This is the pick for this month's like group read, and I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. And it's Julie Ann Long's Hot in Hellcat Canyon, the first book in the Hellcat Canyon series, and it's a pretty summary cover. And I just love this book because it's so funny. It was so surprising. I wasn't expecting that in a romance book, but it's about a man who is an actor, and he's kind of like in hiding, and he doesn't like announce his career, but he meets a waiter who is like kind of escaping the city life, and they're living in this like really small town, and it's like their romantic relationship. And yeah, it's just a nice sweet story with lots of humor. Let's see. Number 6, Screwdriver. What's the most twisted book you've ever read? And I decided to go with a book that had me on edge Like, these people are nuts. They're crazy. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's The Impossible Climb by Mark Sinai. And I don't know if you can see on the cover, there's a man right there on this like giant rock. Yeah, this book, this subtitle is A Personal History of Alex Holland's Free Solo of El Capitan and a Climbing Life. And this is all about like free climbers. And what that means is they don't have any ropes or anything that's like hooking them to the rock wall. They just act free climbing is what you mean. Like, you take your feet and your hands and you just like scurry your way up these like really insane mountains and mountainsides. And yeah, I was just like reading this with my mouth, like my jaw to the floor, basically. I was like, and also like I don't bite my nails, but that kind of like mindset of like, oh my God, because I don't like heights, but I'll get on, I'll look over like a landscape or whatever, but I'm not gonna risk my life. And I feel like it's so unnecessary what they're doing, because it's all for their safety. Like, you get the thrill of being able to pick your course, without having to take your time. You can go up fast, but you're risking your life for that. It's not worth the payoff. And yeah, it was just a wild, twisted book as the prompt asked for. See, number 7, Long Island Iced Tea, the melting pot of alcoholic beverages. What is one of your favorite diverse reads? And for this one, I'm going with a book I read earlier this year. One of the first books I read, and this is One Person, No Vote, by Carol Anderson, and it's how voter suppression is destroying our democracy. And this is all about how, in particular, African Americans or people with color, how they are discriminated against and how they are really like pushed away from having the ability to vote because through gerrymandering or like the voting booth locations, either having limited hours or put into locations where people who don't have vehicles can even access, with bus routes and all that, you can't even access conveniently the voting registration areas. And so yeah, it's for a diverse book, it's like really, it shows how America can really exclude people of color. Let's see, number 8, Sex on the Beach, a drink that's great in theory, but wasn't exactly all it was cracked up to be. What is a book that just didn't live up to the hype? And this is the book I just recently talked about on my weekly wrap-up, and this is a book I've seen going around on BookTube, so I thought I'd give it a shot, even though it wasn't really grabbing me, the synopsis. This is Chelseadolling Reads Daisy Jones and the Six, and the story was just kind of bland. It's about a band, and Daisy Jones in particular. It has like a 1970s vibe, which I liked that part. And I liked her other book, this Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And there's a couple others of Reed's books that I'm interested in. But I thought I'd give this one a try since I've heard so many people talk about it. But yeah, it was just a mediocre book. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, that kind of thing. So let's see, number 9, Wine. You're just gone through a rough breakup. So you park yourself in bed with your favorite bottle of wine, with some ice cream and a bucket for your tears. Name a book that made you cry out all of your feels. And I don't cry with books, no matter like how heartbreaking it is. I will get like really sad. So I'm just gonna go with a book that's making me really sad. And it's a book I'm currently reading. And like, how can it not be incredibly sad? It's about 9/11. It's The Fallen Rise, the story of 9/11 by Michelle Zukoff. And I'm in the middle of this one right now. And you have like where the tower would be, and then you have like the debris and dust. Yeah, this one is really hard to read. It's very well written, and it takes the account of the victims, the pilots, newscasters, the terrorists, all sorts of people. You get really good glimpses of their life before and during this day, and it's but yeah, it's a really, really, really hard book for me to read, and it's making me very sad, to say the least. Let's see. Number 10, Strip Club. What's the sexiest naked book? And I don't have many hardcovers with they're all just like plain colors. So I decided to go with a book cover that I really like. And this is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And this cover is just really cool, interesting fantasy series cover. There's like this dragon with the orange color. I really like this kind of like a different, Eastern kind of vibe going there. And yeah, it's a really nice fantasy book to read. It's a little synopsis says, a world divided, a queendom without an heir, and an ancient enemy awakens. And yeah, this is a book that came out earlier this year, and I read it pretty quickly. I think I read it for the March of the Mammoth, if I remember correctly, because it was over 800 pages, 848 pages. But yeah, it was a little bit different because it has like Eastern vibes. It's like East versus West in a way with the different cultures. There's dragons in it, there's magic, there's princes and queens and kings, and so yeah, it was a little bit of a different fantasy book. And so that's all the questions. It doesn't prompt me to tag anyone, but I'm going to say, I don't know if any of these drinks are your favorite drinks, then, or if you like drinking alcohol, then I'll tag you. Thanks. I'll see you soon in book 2.